The Senate debates the mandatory death penalty. Accountants pledge to play a key role in helping Barbadians improve their standard of living. And Barbados and Argentina celebrate 50 years of bilateral relations.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you with the Wednesday, November 7th edition of the CBC Evening News. I'm Ryan Broom in our top story. The 11 people on death row may have to be given new sentences. That's if the Senate passes the proposed amendments to the Offences Against the Person Act now being discussed. Under those amendments, judges will no longer be compelled to impose the death penalty on people guilty of murder. Leader of Government Business in the Upper House, Dr. Jerome Walcott, explains the death sentence remains an option, but he says the Caribbean Court of Justice has ruled keeping it compulsory is now unconstitutional. Dr. Walcott says the 62 people awaiting trial for murder and 6 for manslaughter also stand to be affected.
If we were not to pass this bill today, it would put our judicial system in a quandary. You would have 68 persons who are there to have trials done. And at the back of that, at the end of it all, judges will know that they are confined by the mandatory death sentence. But if they convict someone and sentence it, at the end of the day, they know that the CCJ has already ruled that that is unconstitutional.
Meantime, opposition Senator Caswell Franklin says while he supports the abolition of the mandatory death penalty, he feels the majority of Barbadians don't. He says crime on the island is rampant and people prefer to have the death penalty available.
People are outraged and incensed by these wanton acts of stupidity, criminal stupidity, and they believe that people should suffer and not only imprisonment, because after a while you come out of jail. Even if you get life does not mean that you stay in the prison until they put you in a box and send you to meet your maker. After a while, according to these guidelines that we are looking at earlier today, you can get out. The problem there is that the person that you killed all those years ago still dead.
And as a government senator is calling for greater support for young people in educational and similar endeavors. Dr. Crystal Haynes says this could cut down the amount of money invested in punitive measures like prisons. Dr. Haynes told the Senate regional statistics indicate that 21% of students are leaving school without the minimum requirements needed for further education.
These young people, many of them for different reasons. It could be issues related to their families. It could be related to failures in the school system. For some reason, they were failed by society, and we can't give up on them. They're people who may have intellectual gifts or other talents who, given the correct mentorship, who, given the correct training, may be able to change their lives.
And as government seeks to abolish the mandatory aspect of the death penalty for people guilty of murder, an independent senator wants the punishment off the statute books completely. Reverend Senator Michael Maxwell, while supporting the measure, said he wanted lawmakers to go further.
I do hope, for my own conviction, and I may be a lonesome voice crying in the wilderness, but that indeed, that I hope that we will one day, coming soon, move towards possibly the abolition of capital punishment, recognizing that because I may not have valued someone's life does not mean that my life doesn't still have value. And there's a possibility of discovering that value and a change of life, even if it is through life imprisonment.
And removing the mandatory death penalty from the laws of Barbados will bring the country in line with international standards. This assertion from Senator Damian Sands.
We are not here to discuss the death penalty. We are here simply to look at the mandatory imposition of it. And that is why I support this bill, because these amendment bills clearly show that our government is prepared to listen to the highest court in the land, listen to all of the international conventions that we are assigned to, and recognize that human rights must always be at the forefront of any decision made by the government. And that is all this amendment bill seeks to do, bring our country into conformity with international standards.
In other news now, government is planning to change the way it delivers services to the public. Minister of Innovation, Senator Kay McConney, says government, like many other sectors, has been impacted by technological innovations. And as a result, Barbadians can expect a new way of doing things in the coming years.
21st century expectations of the people we serve, their preferred ways of doing business, which is conveniently, seamlessly, from anywhere, 24/7, 365. It has shifted how our government sees its place in our citizens' lives. Citizen-centered government is our commitment. And over the next few years, you will see how this Barbados government will be bringing government to the people.
Well, Senator McConney was speaking at the start of a students' conference hosted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Barbados. She says there's no doubt the world of accounting has changed, and she encouraged those present to see the benefits of technology to the profession.
I encourage you to rebuke the notion that your profession is under siege by technology. Identify as the owner and the author of your story, and as the co-authors of our country's story. The response required today from every professional, business, school, child, parent, is not simply to grapple with the challenges upon us now. It is to imagine what is ahead and prepare in earnest.
And the accounting profession will have a leading role to play if Barbadians are to maintain or improve their standards of living. That's according to Vice President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Bruce McLean. Ms. McLean says changes in technology have created great uncertainty for businesses, which has in turn led to changes in accounting and auditing standards. However, he's assured students they will not have to face the challenges of the future alone.
IFAC, the accounting and auditing standard setters, professional accounting organizations such as ICAB, ACCA, CPA, Canada, the large accounting firms, the entire profession has mobilized resources to ensure that the profession is future ready. But it will not be easy, and we will have to be more flexible and open-minded and willing to embrace change that will be required. And the profession's requirements for lifelong learning and continuous professional development will be indispensable.
Well, voluntary separation has been embraced as a process which the management of the Rural Development Commission will use to trim its staff complement. Former BW General Secretary Sir Roy Trotman told the media earlier today the decision was reached following another meeting with senior officials.
We got confirmation today that those who want to volunteer to leave the commission may do so, and I believe that already today a letter has gone out to the workers permitting that. We also indicated, though, that there were some people who were borderline or would be borderline just on the verge of leaving, and that their positions had to be looked at, and the commission has undertaken to have a discussion with the Ministry of the Civil Service and the Public Administration Division to see exactly what is being done in the service generally.
And while the last in, first out method is generally touted, Sir Roy notes provisions have been made by Prime Minister Mia Motley to ensure two breadwinners are not sent home.
She set up what you might call a welfare committee or a monitoring committee or whatever else anybody may call it, where persons who were put in that unfortunate position would have their names or would have themselves go to that committee, indicate the problem, and their cases would be treated as separate and distinct cases right now for support, but as well for the new employment opportunities which the government believes that they may be able to put in place in short order.
A local church is campaigning to restore Christian and moral values in Barbados. Kingdom Culture International is hoping its upcoming show, Vintage Gospel, Remember When, will assist in that regard. Zimron Andrews of the organizing committee says there must be a turnaround as all age groups have been affected by this decline.
There's more to the church than we see in a regular setting of service. So therefore, we have another opportunity to see the church display in terms of the cultural and art form. So we're going to invite persons to come out. And as we said before, having stimulate that interest, we are certain that with teaching and instructions, we can then transform our nation. We can then again see a change in terms of the cultural atmosphere. We again can see a change in the morals and those Christian values that so helped to shape this nation in the earliest stage, we can see returning again. Because we have lost that. And it didn't start with just this current generation, but also the generations before.
And another organizing committee member, Billboard Murrell, is confident the Vintage Gospel show will fill a void, as Barbadians have long complained of a lack of events targeting mature patrons. The event is slated for December 1st at the Mercy New Testament Church on River Road, the city.
Now these again, Vintage and our local cast, James Deacock, Ricky Brooms, Sister Marshall, and we're gonna have a special tribute by Jude Clark, special tribute featuring songs from Joseph Nels. And we're gonna have some interesting surprises. I won't let anything on the bike, but we're gonna have some interesting surprises. We're gonna have a real old-time vintage concert. So we haven't gone to the gymnasium, or we haven't gone in an open-air setting. We've gone to Mercy New Testament. Back in the day, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, concerts used to be in churches, right? So we have a nice venue.
As Barbados and Argentina celebrate 50 years of bilateral relations, 26 mixed artists have been given the opportunity to display their work at an exhibition. Entitled Permanent Impermanence, the expo will be mounted for 22 days at the Embassy of Argentina in Bridgetown. Argentina's ambassador to Barbados, Gustavo Pandiani, says the exhibition is just the beginning of its partnership with Artists Alliance Barbados.
We are going to open this floor, these 3 galleries, all year around, from January to December, to this year and next year, to give the opportunity to young, especially young, not necessarily young, but especially young artists from Barbados, that sometimes they don't have the opportunity, to exhibit their work because they don't have the space to do so. This is a small house, but it's a big house in terms of our heart. And we want to make sure that if everyone needs a space to show their work, painting, sculptures, or any other expression of the arts, here they will have a space available.
Meanwhile, curator Onika Small thanked the Argentina ambassador for providing an opening for artists, as she noted it can help boost their earnings.
We are not able to sell on the premises, but all of the work is for sale. We have a website that will be up and running shortly. One of the artists, Jason Hope, he has BajanArt.com, so all of the prices are on BajanArt.com.
Another achievement for Colony Club as it launches the first ever rum vault on the island. The vault, being the newest addition to the St. James property, features a collection of over 150 rums from all over the world. Group Operations Director at the Elegant Hotels Group, Gail Talma, says the vault will be a new experience for guests. The collection includes rums from Barbados, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, and as far away as Japan. Visitors will learn about rum and the history attached in the rum vault.
It's open 6 days a week, closed only on Sundays, and it's open mainly in the evenings, and so you can come and do flights, or you can book a vault experience where we have 3 dinners that we do. We do the tapas dinner, we also do storied rum dinners, and we'll do the Tales of the Vault dinner. Those are 3 of the dinners we do a week. We do rum and chocolates as well, and then you can just come and have a flight. You can look at all the selection. You can just have one rum, or you can taste the flights. But we do recommend the flights. It's more interactive. You learn something. And for the guests, we do two rum tastings on the 2 rum refineries in Barbados.
And General Manager of Colony Club, Joanna Rotterberg, says the month of November will be one of celebrations for the hotel as it observes its 70th anniversary. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital wishes to inform Barbadians that it has encountered a technical challenge with its biosafety cabinet, which is the facility used to manufacture chemotherapy treatment. The QEH says the issue, which was drawn to the attention of its management team by the pharmacy department on Thursday, November 1st, 2018, and a decision was taken to discontinue the use of the biosafety cabinet in question. Management says it immediately enacted arrangements to ensure the continuity of service for the approximately 16 patients affected. This through the temporary establishment of an appropriate facility at the Best Dos Santos Public Health Lab. This interim facility is currently being decontaminated, and once deemed ready for use, will resume the preparation of chemotherapy drugs. The QEH says there is no shortage of drugs, but a need to relocate preparation of chemotherapy. The state-owned hospital says it expects to resume preparation of chemo treatments by Saturday, November 10th, and patients are expected to continue treatment from Monday, November 12th. A private facility is assisting with patients whose treatment cannot be delayed or disrupted until Monday, November 12th. Now, management of the QEH says they have taken immediate steps to identify a suitable replacement biosafety cabinet, and it will be procured and commissioned within the next 6 to 8 weeks. The Best Dos Santos lab will service the QEH during this period, and the QEH board management and staff is advising Barbadians, especially those affected, that every effort is being made to swiftly rectify the issue at hand and to ensure the needs of vulnerable patients are met.